Dear Diary, it's been almost a month since I last went to the movies. I'm beginning to slowly lose my mind. If only there was a way I could watch the newest releases from the comfort of my home and away from the theater. Oh, I guess that's one way.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens, it's Carol from Big Cat Rescue. But hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Brandon, and welcome back to another episode of Murata Media. I know it's been a while, and there's a pretty good reason for that. There's this little thing circulating out there right now called the coronavirus, and now everything is pretty much closed. And one of the many things that's now closed for the time being are movie theaters, and I really miss going to the movies. As I mentioned in the intro, it's been almost a month since I last went to the theater. But luckily, a lot of the studios that released movies earlier this year or had movies that were in theaters at the time of the closing have now released them available for stream. So I decided to take advantage and watch a few movies that came out this year that I had not seen because I just wasn't interested enough or I just didn't have the time. So today in this review, I will be reviewing 3 different movies that I watched over the past week. And the first movie that I watched was The Hunt. This movie was originally supposed to come out last year, but due to some shootings that happened in the United States, the release date was postponed till this year. And The Hunt tells the story about this group of rich elites who kidnap a bunch of people whom they refer to as deplorables. And the point of kidnapping them is so they can hunt all of them and take them out one by one. When this movie was first announced, I wasn't really that intrigued by it, and I really didn't have a sense of urgency to see it. But since the movie was pushed back due to real-life events, it has used its controversy as its marketing ploy. Because The Hunt really does not hold anything back, and that's something that I definitely respect about it. Because this movie wastes absolutely no time getting into the thick of things. I mean, we meet this group of people as they wake up in the middle of this field, and they have no idea where they are, and almost immediately they start getting taken out. And they get taken out in pretty brutal ways, I might add. And there is sort of a drawback with just how brutal this movie is because the blood and gore just doesn't look very good. I'm pretty sure blood is one of the most simple things that you can animate today, and in this movie it just doesn't look very good. But this movie is very surprisingly well shot. The cinematography isn't really anything mind-blowing, but you could tell that a lot of thought and effort went into planning each individual shot. But something in The Hunt that really bothered me was its characters. Because this movie is a political satire, and it doesn't explicitly refer to them by the political parties' names, but the hunters are liberals and the hunted are conservatives. And nearly every character on both sides just spouts these beliefs that their respective party has. I mean, this isn't a bad thing, but some of the dialogue is just so on the nose. It's like the writers took the most basic understanding and stereotype of both sides and just molded them into people. Granted, this is a satire, and satires are meant to exaggerate things, and The Hunt absolutely does this. And in all fairness, there are people in the world who genuinely think and act the way these characters do. But I think my biggest issue with The Hunt was its ending, and I won't get into spoilers, but it's revealed at the end that the ringleader of the entire thing is Hilary Swank. But at the end of the movie, when we meet her character up close and personal, we begin to learn her motives for starting the hunt. And to me, her motivation doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. If anything, I think the way that she went about it is more counterproductive from what she was trying to accomplish. And even though those things did definitely bother me to an extent, I will say that The Hunt is actually not a bad movie. It's very entertaining, and this is definitely a movie that a lot of people are going to absolutely love or absolutely hate. But nonetheless, I was entertained even though it definitely has its fair share of flaws. And for that reason, I would give The Hunt a 6 out of 10. And the next movie that I watched was Bloodshot. I went into this movie not expecting a whole lot. I was just hoping for an entertaining, dumb, fun action flick. And unfortunately, Bloodshot couldn't even accomplish that. Wow, this movie is bad. bad. It's just a very by-the-numbers action movie. It's so formulaic and predictable right from the beginning. Because we meet our hero, Vin Diesel. He's a soldier, and he's on a mission, and he completes the mission. He comes home to his wife, and they go on vacation. And on the vacation, we get this cute little montage showing just how happy of a couple they are and how in love they are with each other. And right from that moment, you're like, oh, well, she's definitely dead. It's so easy to tell what's going to happen. That is, if you're able to even tell what's happening. I mean, the story gets so unnecessarily convoluted, and it most certainly never justifies this. And when you get a script thinking that it's a lot cooler than it really is, and you combine that with some of the worst CGI and editing that I've seen in recent memory, then you're not gonna get a good end result. I mean, the CGI in Bloodshot is atrocious, to put it simple. It looks like it came out of a very early 2000s movie. Almost none of the action is practical, it's pretty much all digital. And when most of the action scenes you have are digital, you would hope that a lot more effort would be put into the CGI, right? Well, clearly Bloodshot didn't get that memo. The editing is just so fast and disorienting. It's edited a lot like the Transformers movies. There are so many jump cuts that it's nearly impossible to tell what's happening, and none of the characters were memorable. Their relationships with one another and their motivations were all so underdeveloped that it's really hard to care about any of them. Yeah, this movie's not good. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm gonna give Bloodshot a 2 out of 10. And the last movie that I watched was Pixar's Onward. This was easily the best of the three. Granted, that isn't saying much, but it is without a doubt the best one. Onward takes place in a world where magic was once prevalent but has since been cast away, and it focuses on these two brothers, Ian and Barley. And when Ian turns 16, he receives a gift from his father who has since passed away. And the gift is a magic staff along with a spell that will bring their father back for 1 day. But when the spell doesn't exactly work and just half of their dad shows up, they set out on a journey to bring him back entirely. I mean, I gotta say, I enjoyed this movie a hell of a lot more than I thought I would. But as you would expect for a Pixar film, the animation in Onward is beautiful. They do such a great job of world building. I've always been so invested in the world of Pixar movies because you could tell they really put a lot of thought into the way that these worlds would function. I really love the idea of a world where magic was once prominent but then slowly deteriorates due to the convenience of technology. And this movie is pretty funny too. There were quite a few times where I laughed pretty hard, especially at the boy's father, because he's literally just these legs and they put this makeshift upper body on him and he kind of just flails around, and it makes for some pretty funny moments. I think my biggest problem with Onward would be that some of the plot points are resolved way too quickly. Because there's this character called the Manticore who was once this feared beast, but since magic went away, she resorted to running a restaurant. When the boys go to find her, she almost immediately decides to give up the restaurant and become a Manticore again. And there's another scene later on in the movie where the brothers have a fight with one another, and within the span of a minute, they resolve it. And the cause of their fight, I think, actually could have built the characters up a lot more if it was developed more. But in the end, I thought Onward was a very enjoyable movie that both kids and adults can enjoy together. And overall, I would give Onward an 8 out of 10. Well, that's it, everybody. That was my very first quarantine review. If you guys saw any of these movies, The Hunt, Bloodshot, or Onward, tell me what you thought about them. Comment down below. I would love to know. If you guys like this video, then be sure to hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to get notified when I post the next video. If you want to see my past reviews, then I'll link those right over here. But other than that, all I can really say is stay safe out there, everyone. This is definitely a scary time we're living in, so all I can say is just wash your hands and be safe, be smart, don't panic, because we're gonna get through this. So I hope you all have a tremendous rest of your day, and I will see you all next time.